Go ahead.
Good evening, sir. Well, it's quite unfortunate, to be honest with you, because one of our main problem in Nigeria is that majority, not everybody, because you cannot generalize that, we are so corrupt. We are so corrupt. It is very, very sad to be bringing this up even online. I'm a civil engineer here as well in São Paulo, Brazil. I was trained here, and the way we constructed each building here is completely different. And the way we were trained is even so different to the fact that by the time you graduated, you already know the responsibility you are holding as a civil engineer. Because even after you finish delivering a project, no matter how small the building might be, it's going to be on your registration for 5 years. So that fear of the fact that you are still responsible for a building that has been delivered will make you think properly before you use any material, or before you think of getting more profits beyond what is necessary. Because one of the reasons that we have in Nigeria is we want to spend 10 naira to make 100 million. That is the problem. Because it's not very difficult to construct if you are a real civil engineer. But the main problem is that instead of them to use a rod of 8 millimeter, they decided to use 6.5. Because in their mind, they think it's going to be doing the same function. Definitely it's going to do it at the initial stage. But the more the load, because the more you are piling up the deck, the load is going to be more piling up on the irons that you are using. And the structural engineers have done their job, giving you the project, telling you the diameter of each section you have to be using on each pavement. So if you decided to use our own Mayo way, you're going to, this is what is going to happen. Just as what is happened in Banana yesterday, there are still so many other buildings that they are doing like that. It's only because we saw the Banana yesterday. What about other homes that they have been done that we have never seen before? That's the problem.
Now, abroad, do individuals build, or is all government built?
No, it is a majority of the buildings that we have participated here are private buildings. Private. They are private. The only building that you can see government doing here is only roads, road constructions, and the rest. But when we are talking about apartments, majority of them are private. Even the latest one that we just delivered from where I work now is the building of 650 apartments here in São Paulo. But the responsibility is the same. I have my registration number. I am so much afraid of losing that because it took me 5 years to get that in the university. So the fear of losing that and going back to square one will always make me think properly before I make any decision. Because actually, as the site manager, your decision is final. That is the reason why any decision you make that backfire, you are going to be the one responsible for it. And it can take you to prison. There's nothing you can do about that. You go to prison, yes. Because if the way it happens in Banana Island yesterday, I know it can never happen here because we are much more conscious about human life. The way it happens, the first person to be called for is those that design the structural project. That is the process. They are going to open a panel. They call those people that design the project and see if the project is being designed according to the norm that we use here. If all those things have been followed with due process, now they call those that supervise the building, because one way or the other we have a problem, and we need to realize where the problem came from, whether from the people that design the projects or whether from those that supervise the project.
Okay, I want to ask you a question. When was the last time a building collapsed in Sao Paulo?
Well, never. Since I have been here for the past 11 years, we never had such situation. Sometimes we have some problem during construction. Sometimes maybe when they are putting concrete on the deck, because one of the problems we have is those when you are putting decking on, when you are concreting the decks, there are some certain principles and some certain safety measures that you have to take into consideration. Sometimes we have problem with that as well, yeah, whereby people doesn't use, because in Nigeria, if I remember vividly, we used to go to the market, we buy some rods just to put it on top. To here, we don't use stick rod, we normally use steel to be much more stronger when you wanted to make concrete. But sometimes the quality of
rods and concrete and the normal gauge iron rod.
Well, that depends on the structural engineer. That is why we have structural engineer, because the normal iron rod is being calculated based on the weight that you are going to be putting on the decking. You can never just decide and say, no, I'm going to put 12 millimeter, 8 millimeter, 7 millimeter. No, it's going to be depending on the weight that you are going to be, because the guy is going to calculate it as if you are already living inside the house with your refrigerator, with your TV store. That is the reason why when we deliver houses, even if you buy an apartment here, you can never make any modification on top of it. Never. They won't allow you to do that.
Meaning you take a wall and put a door?
No. You can't do that here. You can't do that, because once you are breaking anything, you're already putting the whole building into problem. So they will never allow you to do anything. You can never make any modification on any building you bought here. So that's the reason why before you buy an apartment, you go there, you see the project. If you're interested in it, that is one you are going to buy. So you can't just buy and say, no, I'm going to change, I'm going to make some modification. That will never happen, because you are putting the engineer that uses registration number to sign the apartment, to sign the building, you're putting them in problem.
Now, what qualifications do you need to have to be a structural engineer? Where you
have to study as a civil engineer. So when you graduated, then you go for your master's and become a structural engineer.
So
I am a civil engineer. I cannot just be projecting the structural projects, never, because I'm not a structural engineer. To become a structural engineer, I have to go to the university to study masters. I'm doing my master's in real estate. So I'm doing something else differently. Just because I'm a civil engineer, just because I have a registration number of a civil engineer, doesn't qualify me to be a structural engineer.
But are you a structural engineer?
Now, I am a civil engineer. So I work on the site as a site manager. I supervise the project of a structural engineer.
Oh, so the structural engineer is the one who does the project.
Exactly. We now collected the project and we work on it. So even when on the side, if you have any problem, if you have any difficulties, I cannot just decide. Even if I know the solution, I cannot just decide and say, no, this is what I'm going to do. I have to send email to him. This is the problem I encounter. What do you think I can do? I have to wait till he responds back to me, because if anything happens, he's going to be the one to be responsible for the project, because he's the owner of the project. We are just following what he told us to do.
Now, how well are structural engineers paid in where you are, Sao Paulo?
Well, in a project, there's every possibility, or it depends on the height of the project, because that is how they used to at least the projects can give him like 30, 40 million naira. A single project. A single project can give him like 40 million naira. But the problem is, for example, the latest building I'm doing now, the project was designed in 2020. We just started the building right now. So he has to be responsible for it till we finish the project. It's going to take us 1.5 years to finish the project. So he's going to be responsible. He has to be readily available because the project belongs to him. Anytime we have a problem, we need to send email to him. This is the work we have. We have a concrete, and unfortunately, the concrete doesn't get to the normal resistance that he told us he has to reach. What does he want us to do? Does he want us to demolish the site, or he want us to keep going with it? This is the result. So we have to keep talking to him, communicating to him till the final day of the building.
Okay.
Because he's the owner of the project.
Okay. What about you, civil engineer? What's your income like?
Oh, well, the normal basic salary for a recent graduate here is It's like, I think, 1.2 million naira
That,
for
that's
for
2,000.
for somebody that just left the university. Yeah.
Okay, okay. Is life expensive in Sao Paulo?
Not really. The only problem is the language, because everything is being in their language, is Portuguese. So if you don't speak the language, you can't really do anything properly.
Okay, that brings us back to Chimamanda's letter on Peter Obi, where
Exactly.
they said 10 billion. Not read English.
Yeah. The only problem here is Portuguese. So if you don't speak the language, everything I studied here is in their language. So if you don't speak the language, yeah, definitely.
How well? Do you speak good Portuguese, or you just start at and manage?
No, I study civil engineer here. I speak Portuguese.
In Portuguese. Wow,
Yeah.
wow. Nice. What about a message to your brothers and sisters in Nigeria who want to jackpot to Brazil?
Well, Brazil is good. The only problem is they should be ready to learn the language, whether they like it or not. Because if you want to go to another man's country and they don't speak English, you should be ready to learn their language and be able to mingle within them.
Now let's talk about women.
What do you say?
Married, Leon?
No.
Okay, you are not married yet.
No.
Are you in a relationship with Brazilian, or you want to bring your wife from Nigeria?
I have a girlfriend here. She's a Brazilian, actually.
I heard they are very beautiful. Is that true?
Yes, they are one of the most beautiful women in the world.
But are they well behaved? Are they cultured, or they just behave anyhow like Americans?
Well, you should be very lucky sometimes. Majority of them are very, very difficult to live with. Majority, to be honest. But if you are lucky to find some that are a little bit different, then you should be very happy, because majority of them are very difficult.
Meaning, only we buy
At all.
How long? Okay, you've been here for 11 years.
11 years.
All in Nigeria, or schooling was done in Brazil?
What?
Did you school at all in Nigeria?
Yes, of course. I finished my secondary school in Nigeria before I traveled.
Okay, but you did university in Brazil?
No. Yeah.
So how many years did you stay in Brazil before you learned the language and were able to go to university?
I think after like 2.5 years, I've been able to communicate a little bit. So by that, I went back to the secondary school, because if you didn't come from this, you have to go back to the secondary school. If you didn't come from a Portuguese speaking country, and you need to prove that when you get to the university, you are going to understand what they are going to be teaching you, which is very important. So I went back to the secondary school. Then later, I was able to get scholarship to civil engineering.
Secondary school for you to get this?
Yeah.
What did you finish your university with? What grade?
They don't have grade here. No. There's nothing like grade here, because they believe everybody has to be good.
So you just have to be good.
Yeah.
How many years did it take you to study civil engineering?
Normal 5 years. The normal 5 years course. But the difference is, once you enter university doing any course, you're already entitled to be working in the area. So there are so many buildings that I was able to participate as an IT student. That's a Nigerian 3, 4 years, 5 years old civil engineer doesn't even know what they are doing. That is the difference.
This is really, really awesome. This is really, really awesome. Would you recommend life in Brazil for Nigerians that want to jackpot? Because right now, we like to say America goes stress. UK, they say they don't reject Nigeria. Would you recommend Brazil?
Yeah, definitely. Brazil is good. Brazil is not bad.
Do you have a Nigerian?
The only
in Brazil?
Yeah, definitely we have Nigerian community here in Sao Paulo. Majority of Nigerians that lives in Brazil, like 80%, lives here in Sao Paulo.
Okay, so are there Nigerian restaurants where you can go and eat Nigerian food?
I was even there this afternoon.
Who is the person running the restaurant?
It's the best one that I used to visit. They are from Imo State, and they are doing well. They are doing well.
That means they cook local Igbo food.
Local Igbo food. Local Igbo for Ogbono, all stuff like that. Yeah, very good food.
Hey. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was really interesting conversation we had. As you're going now, you have quite a few fans here watching you live. Say goodbye to them in.
Boa noite, pessoal. Muito obrigado pela audiência que você deu pra gente. Eu agradeço muito. E todo mundo está torcendo para ver se vai dar certo para a Nigéria um dia. E eu espero que um dia a gente também consiga olhar para trás e falar, não, somos nigerianos. Vai dar tudo certo.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. That was a really beautiful rendition, and we all learned something new. Let's talk about the option you're leaving. Sorry, just one more. Oh, he has gone. Okay. All right, guys. That's as far as we can go. I wanted to ask him a question, but he has gone. John Knight, Abi Hawkwood, you don't see, say, the Portuguese language. We're coming back, and when we come back, we'll be talking about a very deadly topic. DNA. DNA. A Nigerian celeb was reported not to be the father of his son, according to DNA. When we come back, don't go anywhere.